Halfway through the outdoor season, Jett and Hunter Lawrence, 1 and 2, has become typical, the status quo. But the races at Redbud were anything but typical. Jett doing Jett things, but more so. In the second moto, young Lawrence had the rare poor start and an early crash. Yet after picking up his bike and rejoining the race in 18th place, Jett put on an all-time clinic. In the first race, it had been Hunter out front early, and Jett battling with the resurgent Jorge Prado. Soon enough, however, the Lawrences had dispatched with the four-time world champion and settled in to maybe the best brother battle ever. In spite of 4 or 5 lead changes between the two in that brief flurry, 20 minutes in, Jett had 5 seconds on his brother, with Hunter having 20 seconds in hand over the rest of the field. The best of the rest in that race was Tomac. He worked his way through the top 10 into third, but had smoked his bike in the process. Eli dropped out with 10 minutes on the clock, and his championship hopes, already on life support, were essentially euthanized. Spring Creek Motocross Park in Millville, Minnesota, has hosted motocross races since the mid-1970s. After Grant Marquardt founded a hill climb event at the site in 1967. Harry Hendricks added a motocross track in 1976. And the track has hosted many events over the years. In 1987, John and Greta Martin bought 56 acres of the track from Hendricks and dedicated themselves into turning it into the race facility it is today. John is a former Can-Am and ATK factory racer, and the 1985 National Hare Scrambles champion, and Greta is a former school teacher. For my money, the best national track on the circuit, certainly the one I like best, Spring Creek is in an idyllic setting, with its namesake stream running across the entryway, huge hills, giant leaps, and a mostly hard-packed track, juxtaposed with 2 long runs through sandy whoops that often determine the outcome of the race. Fitting for a track built on the side of a hill climb competition, it also features Mountain Martin, which at 350 feet of elevation is the longest and largest uphill on the schedule. The city of Millville has a population of just about 200 residents. When the Outdoor National Series comes to town, that population grows at least 50-fold. as thousands of die-hard fans pour into the little village, located 30 miles or so north of Rochester and about the same distance from the Mississippi River and the Wisconsin state line. The first ever Pro National held at Millville was the last race of the 1983 season, and there were titles on the line. Honda's Bob Hanna took the overall with a 2-1, with teammate David Bailey clinching the 250 championship with a second Moto win. But still needing help from yet another Honda teammate, his best friend Johnny O'Mara, to prevail over Suzuki's 125 rider Mark Barnett for the then Grand National Championship. With race announcement from the incomparable Larry Huffman. R.I.P.
Arrived in Millville, Minnesota for the final race of the year. David Bailey drew a crowd everywhere he went. The word was out. The little professor had already won the Supercross championship, was a sure bet to win the 250cc title, and depending upon his and Barnett's performances today, could possibly win the AMA Super Series.
Actually, I was more nervous last week than I am this week. This week is, I don't have a worry in the world. If I win everything, it's a bonus for me, and if I don't win anything at all, I already won the Supercross championship and a Grand Prix, and I get to go to the Trophy of the Nation. If I completely blow it today, I've had a pretty successful year, so I'm not worried about anything at all. I'm just going to go out there and go fast.
On the morning of what could be the biggest day of his professional career, Bailey appeared to be very calm. Bob Hanna even calmer. But inside, everyone in the Honda camp, including Bailey, realized just how important the Millville races were. Neither his teammate, Hanna, nor the other factory riders were about to let Bailey take the biggest prize of all without a fight. Bailey's strategy was simply to win both motos. The overall point spread between himself and Barnett in the 125 class was just too close for anything else. As if in anticipation, David's father Gary was recording the whole event for posterity, but no one could really appreciate the pressure that was on David Bailey. To succeed would mean true graduation for the little professor.
All right, Millville, Minnesota, listen to the sound when the gate goes down. Into turn one, it's Bailey, Burnworth, and Hanna. Bailey's got the whole shot, and he's taking the lead. Burnworth is closing in on Bailey, and he's slipped by him on the far side to take first. Hanna's riding third. Look at the different lines taken by Hanna and Bailey as they both look for the fastest way to catch Scott Burnworth. Burnworth may be out in front now, but it's a 30-minute moto, and that gives Hanna and Bailey both time to establish their own rhythm and pace that will last the entire moto and hopefully beat Burnworth. Bailey's still in front of Hanna, but Hanna looks strong, and he is strong. If anything, Bailey is looking to relax. Out Bailey to take second behind Burnworth. Bailey has got to be feeling the pressure. Just 1 point may decide the Super Series championship. Mark Barnett, are you watching? Over the rockers, the Hurricane unleashes some Honda horsepower and stuffs Burnworth on the hairpin. Never give Bob Hanna the inside line if you want to keep him behind you. Burnworth should have learned that lesson from Washugo. Meanwhile, Bailey has dropped up to fourth place behind Johnson and Burnworth, who are second and third. He's got to pour it on if he wants a shot at that Super Series Triple Crown. The little professor cannot afford to stand by and watch Barnett in the 125 motos possibly steal his chances at a record-setting year. And don't forget, there's a great deal of money at stake here. Mega bucks. Roger DeCoster knows it. Bob Hanna knows it. And David Bailey can almost taste it. Bailey, who knows that Hanna is in the lead, can only feel the frustration of having to follow his arch rivals, Ricky Johnson and Scott Burnworth. But it's Hanna who's setting the pace and takes the victory.
Bailey would not get the victory he so badly needed in the first moto. The little professor took fourth behind Hanna, Johnson, and Burnworth. All he could do now was sit back and watch the 125 race and rethink his strategy for the second and last moto of the 1983 season. The pressure of competition and success doesn't stop at the checkered flag. The time between motos gives a rider a chance to physically rest, but often mentally worry. After finishing fourth in the first moto, Bailey and Barnett were in a virtual dead heat in the point standings, with Barnett holding a slight advantage. If they both won their respective motos, Barnett would win the Super Series. David Bailey had his work cut out for him, and everybody in Millville knew it. With a last good luck handshake from his younger brother, who showed up fashionably attired in a Johnny O'Mara t-shirt, Bailey said about his work.
This is it, everybody. The final for the Champagne Glory and Gold for the 250 National Championship. Bailey has got the eye of the tiger. He's taken over first place with teammate Hannah in second. Bailey, first out of the chute. He knows he's got to win, and he's setting a tremendous pace. A pace that only his teammate and rival, Bob the Hurricane Hannah, can match. Bailey's riding with forceful style, so different from the first moto. No doubt, Gary the Professor had a pep talk with his son David between motos. This is the end of the season, the last 250 moto of the year, and everything's on the line. Hannah is giving Bailey more pressure than this young racer has ever experienced in his entire career. Hannah is pouring the pressure on. Hannah's moved into first. Bailey has got to catch him to stay close to Barnett for the Super Series. Now we'll see what David Bailey is made of. Team trainer Jeff Spencer encourages Bailey. Go get him. The crowd can sense the need, the rivalry, and the urgency that must permeate every bone in David Bailey's body.
But Bailey was not to be muffed by the heat of the moment, and systematically regained the lead from Bob Hannah.
With just 2 laps to go, Bailey's got the lead back over Hannah. Nobody else is even close. What a show these two guys are putting on.
The pace had been incredible. There was no one even close to these Honda men. Bailey wants it bad, and Hannah is making him work for it.
Going in for the checkered flag, David Bailey wins it!
With his last moto of the year safely tucked away in the victory column, all that was left for Bailey was to sit and watch the final 125 event. If either O'Mara, Lachine, or Ward could keep Barnett one step behind them, the Super Series and the Triple Crown would belong to the little professor.
Into turn 1 for the last 125cc moto of the year. Barnett's got the inside line for the whole shot, and Ron Lachine is on his tail. David Bailey, are you watching? Let's hope the little professor is paying attention, because school is in session. All the money's on the table for Team Honda, and the stakes are as high as they can get. The Super Series Championship. Mark Barnett, David Bailey, Johnny O'Mara, and the wild card nobody figured on, young Ron Lachine. This is it. This is it. O'Mara. Barnett. Barnett. O'Mara. Barnett. And wait a minute. Here comes Ron Lachine. He's poured it on. He's taken Barnett. He takes O'Mara. And now he takes the checkered flag. David Bailey, are you watching?
Speaking of legends, the same year the Martins took over the track property in 1987, the late great Donnie Schmidt, a local hero whose name lived on in the form of the famous Holy Schmidt jump, took a victory the first time he raced as a pro at Spring Creek in the 125 class over George Holland and Eric Kehoe.
The crowd was definitely getting what they wanted. Donnie Schmidt, the hometown favorite, was running away with this race. With the crowd cheering him on, Donnie Schmidt was running away with this moto. Donnie Schmidt is definitely favored to win this race. He started racing here in 1977 on a Honda XR70 at age 9. And 10 years later, he's out front winning a 125 National. Donnie has what it takes to become tomorrow's superstar. While Schmidt makes quick work of this whoop-de-doo section, Schmidt comes around for the white flag and the final lap. The crowd loving every minute of it. National champion. And Schmidt taking a well-deserved win in front of his hometown crowd.
And then went back-to-back with another win in 1988. In his first professional season, Schmidt won 3 125 Nationals, including the final 2 races of the 1987 schedule, Troy and Millville.
And you can see here Schmidt is riding very well.
Yeah, I think it has a big difference. It adds a little more pressure, but then again, with them cheering, it gets you pumped up, I think, a little more. So I think it's to my advantage that the fans are with me here.
Schmidt was more than a local hero. He's a goddamn legend. When victories in America failed to lead to a coveted factory ride, Schmidt went to Europe, battled with the likes of Stefan Everts, winning world titles in the 125 class in 1990 and the 250 class in 1992. After 5 years on the Grand Prix circuit, Donnie retired and came back to the USA. On a lark, he showed up at the 1995 Millville 250 National with a special one-off Honda Troy ride. He whole shot, led, and finished 4th overall in his one and only AMA race in 6 years.
Thundering like a bunch of bumblebees coming up there to that first turn. Let's see who's out in front. It looks like a Honda, and hey, that's Donnie Schmidt. Out of retirement riding up here. David, what a way to break out in front of the hometown fans, get the whole shot.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Donnie Schmidt doesn't ride this whole series. I want to point out he's coming from over racing in Europe and I think in retirement, actually. He's come out of retirement to ride this one race. That's why the number 100, and oh, what a way to go out.
Man, I tell you what, he's got the fans. You can hear him cheering in the background.
Donnie Schmidt would very sadly die less than a year after his triumphant return to American motocross. Donnie was diagnosed with leukemia. He passed on January 19th, 1996, at the age of 29. Just as he did at so many other venues, Ricky Carmichael ruled over Spring Creek, winning every single Premier Class moto he ever entered there. 16 straight motos and 8 overalls from 2000 to 2007. And in a muddy 2006 Spring Creek National, RC pulled off one of the greatest and most talked about performances in the history of the sport when he lapped the entire field in the second moto.
And we should point out that looking off towards the horizon where the weather comes from, there's definitely some weather on its way. So we could see a very different second moto here. Just giving you a heads up on that one as Carmichael appears to be on his way to an easy win here in moto number 1. And showing us once again, who's the man? He's the man. Well, things are different than they were a few minutes ago as some fans are doing their imitation of an otter. Aaron Bates to explain what happened.
When we saw these guys last, it was completely dry conditions. We'll take a look at this. It's an absolute mess. A downpour came down. These guys are dealing with probably a foot of mud. As you can see, they're digging out a hole, trying to get themselves some traction to get a good start. I asked a couple of the mechanics what they did in order to get prepared in such a short amount of time. They said basically it's a Chinese fire drill. Change things such as grips. Some of them changed some tires, some handguards, little things like that. Add a couple of extra tear-offs. These guys are in store for a tough ride.
Yes, Millville and the Spring Creek Motocross Park have taken on a very different look as the gate drops and everybody sort of eases out on the clutches here. The whole shot award's going to go to a hero this time around, and around the outside it is Ricky Carmichael, and Mike Brown might have been right there with him.
You know, these guys were obviously offered a parade lap. None of them took it. You don't want to go out there and weigh your bike down with all that mud. But as they go out there, this is a completely different racetrack than they've seen all day. Look how clean he is. No mud on his number plate. His goggles are perfect. So he's got such an advantage now. Even James, anytime he gets up close to him, if he does, he's going to be ruining his goggles.
Wow, what a mess. I mean, if it was a Chinese fire drill, now it's a crapshoot.
Stewart's in second.
James Stewart in second position, just creeping down the hill. And there he is. We're used to seeing James going way faster than that as he comes up behind Chad Reed's bike that's stuck in the mud. And now Stewart is going to join him. So the number 2 and number 3 motocross riders in the world have just sort of parked it together and can only look on in frustration.
How over it are those two guys? They're just like, dude, I don't know, I'm stuck. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm stuck too. This sucks.
Dude, look at this. What a comedy. Here comes Villeman. He manages to shoot through a gap that has also now collected Jason Thomas on the 31. Villeman gets a standing O for that move at about 2 miles an hour.
He just did a one-hander, pumped his fist for getting through a little muddy section. That's funny.
Yep. The thrill of victory. Well, you take it where you can. Where is James Stewart? Don't go in there. Do not go in there. So Stewart trying to find some way to get moving, and Ricky Carmichael's lead is just growing and growing. What a mess! Look at this!
Hey, we need some circus music.
Absolutely. Some Three Stooges sound effects. What, you know. Oh, this is too funny. Well, Reed finally gets going, sort of, after spewing mud all over his mechanic, who was only trying to help. Stewart's getting some help, and they can't even stand the bike up. Oh, I hate to laugh at the misfortune of others, but you know what? This is slapstick.
I've never been so happy to not be racing motorcycles in my life.
Ricky Carmichael comes down the hill past David Villeman, who's running second right now. So Carmichael has lapped the entire field here in Millville. There is no joy in Millville today for anybody but Ricky Carmichael, and he's showing plenty of it. He's got to be pretty happy out there. Not only having fun, but winning big. Laps the field. Wow.
That just happened, Dreb. You understand that?
Wow.
He just lapped second place. Maybe his mom forces him to go ride when it's muddy now. That's part of the deal.
An altogether different jaw-dropping moment happened in 2011 with Chad Reed's horrific crash that took place in the second moto. Amazingly, Reed remounted, charged all the way back to 14th to take 5th overall, and salvage his then championship points lead. But he was never the same for the remainder of the season, with the title slipping from his grasp. Minnesota native Ryan Dungey would win that day, as he had the year before and would the year after. Dungey won 3 straight Spring Creek races from 2010 to 2012. Would also win in his final appearance at the venue in 2015. And of course, the Dungey era also largely bridged the ascendance of 2 other local heroes, John and Greta's kids, Alex and Jeremy, in the ranks of 250 riders. Jeremy won back-to-back titles in 2014 and 15. His 20 outdoor national victories rank him 4th all-time in wins. Big brother Alex is a 2-time Pro Motocross Championship runner-up. And the two shared the podium at their home track in 2016, with Jeremy winning the overall and big brother Alex placing 3rd. More recent history is of course more relevant to next Saturday's task at hand. In the 2022 season, it was Eli versus Chase. Chase entered the race with the points lead, and Eli left with it. Note that Tomac was the first to adopt the scoop tire, irrespective of the track surface. And his starts that season carried many days. Now, everybody's doing it, and Eli's starts have largely gone away.
Eli Tomac has been on a roll. He's won 5 motos in a row in the last 3 overalls. Now the biggest change has been his starting position. And one thing I want to note, he's one of the only riders today that is stuck with the Dunlop scoop tire, which you can see here. So obviously he knows how important that start is.
Here it is, Moto 1 of the 450 class. And Dungey looking good, gonna get squeezed from the inside. Joey Savatgy, Eli Tomac going for it. Then Ken Roxon is in there as well. Savatgy is credited with the whole shot, but Tomac's quickly into the lead.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for Eli to get a good start, that's a good deal.
Well, might be scoop tire helping there. Other riders running a more intermediate. Looks like you've got Sexton and Dungey in the picture as well as we head into the Sam Whoops. An alarming early lead already for Tomac. It's got to be over a second, and we're only about a third of the way around the first lap. Sexton is doing it. He's trying to bridge the gap to Tomac. It's the battle we wanted to see.
Exactly. This is definitely the battle we wanted to see. And Eli, you got Eli out front. Chase is able to see what he's got going on. Maybe he can learn some lines.
Eli has won every moto in which he has led this year. It's really hard to overcome him later in the races. It's still pretty early right now, and Sexton is doing it. He is hanging it out, and he is closing the gap. He's got to do it. 5 moto wins in a row for Eli. Sexton knows points lead could switch hands here if Tomac gets the victory. We have set up a great battle between the riders fighting for the championship. Sexton is hanging it out, man. You can see the urgency. Does not want Tomac to go 6 straight moto wins. Oh, Sexton has wheeled Tomac back in. Not sure if that's a mistake by Eli or if Sexton has had things come together, but either way, the gap is down to nothing. So we were anticipating.
This is going to be a full gas run down the downhill. Here we go. Wow.
Woo, Sexton wants it, and he set himself up on the inside. I think he's going to get the lead. He's got it. Chase Sexton has overcome. No.
And Eli gets off the brake.
Oh, Tomac a big run around the outside. Too big of a distance. And Chase Sexton has done it. He's put the Honda up front. And he has picked up the intensity. This is the battle that everybody wanted to see. Points lead on the line. One of the tracks that both riders love. They've had success here before, and they're about to duke it out. Well, if you want to slay the dragon in Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, you've got to be absolutely perfect. Chase Sexton was doing everything right. You cannot put a wheel wrong in leading this sport. He did. Here's what happened, Jeremy.
Yeah, unfortunately, it comes down right here, and as you can see, it's just like the berm couldn't hold the speed he was carrying down there, huh, Jason?
Yeah, and there is Tomac getting by. Checkered flag is out. Eli Tomac, 6 straight moto wins. If you're Chase Sexton, you're hoping that's the case. He was leading the race. He threw it away. He ended up second. He wants revenge. Moto 2 about to go. Meanwhile, Sexton setting up Savatgy. Big move around the outside for the 23. Just like that, he's in the lead. Exactly the way you would have scripted it up for the 23.
Yeah.
Chase Sexton really coming of age here in the summer of 2022. But it is so difficult to go one-on-one with Eli Tomac in this series. He's a 3-time 450 national champ. And Tomac is closing rapidly. Oh!
He cut down and turned off nothing.
Yes, and got the lead in a section where we've seen riders crash. I would have Sexton trying to respond. Can't do it. He did everything right, but Eli Tomac is maybe the hardest obstacle to overcome in all of motocross. Late in the moto, too strong, too fit, too solid, too consistent. Eli Tomac goes 1-1 and takes the points lead. Sexton left it all out there on the track. It was one heck of an effort, but the final margin of victory, 1.7 seconds. You can't ask for more than that from either rider.
As an arbinger of things to come, in the 250 class, Jett Lawrence swept. His 6th overall of the season, with brother Hunter in tow.
The entire moto for 30+2, these guys were all out, and it was amazing to watch.
Absolutely. So Jett has the lead. Look at Hunter come back. Almost gets him here. Tough to see, especially with 2 teammates. There is the team letting Jett Lawrence know he had a solid enough lead. He had enough energy left to put the bike on the stand to take the cheers from the crowd. He made it look easy.
In 2023, Jett's perfect rookie 450 campaign rolled on, with Sexton taking himself out of contention for the win not once, but thrice.
But when someone gets close, we start getting tense, and that's what happened in this first moto. Jett a pretty good start. It was going to be Adam Cianciarulo, though, holding it through the inside to get the motos. And Lawrence goes to work on AC. He's on the outside, but it works for the lead.
Yeah, he does, and I said it a couple times. Adam could have closed the door on Jett there, but really veteran riding, and he's eventually going to get him.
Chase Sexton on lap 1 goes down.
Telling you right now, that could have been a lot worse. He got away with one.
Last lap, gaps right where you see right now, and then he goes down.
Yeah, you hated to see that. I mean, but hey, never say die attitude. What happened right there is the back end kicked up just a little bit, and because that happened, he missed that outside rut, and the front end wasn't planted, and down he goes.
And that allows Lawrence to roll to what looks like uncontested moto win. And this time, Sexton's going to get the early lead.
Yeah, great start by Chase Sexton, and we are just right here being like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And you can see Jett Lawrence going for it, wanting to get that clean air, but...
So Sexton's in the lead here, but a quick mistake.
Right there, comes out of the corner. It's a hard-packed sand corner, if you can believe that. Grabs a handful of throttle, loses the rear end, and just lays it out there for Jett Lawrence on a silver platter.
Rider was on the podium in Moto 1, and then a crash from Sexton while right behind Lawrence.
Yeah, going for it. You got to respect the effort, certainly, but we've seen this so many times in Supercross. He fell 3 times today. Yeah, I mean, it was a great ride. He's discouraged getting beat by this guy, but he isn't the only one getting beat by this guy on a week race.
Yeah, everybody is, because he is still perfect. Another 1-1 sweep for Jett Lawrence. Impressive, as always. And then gets the big congratulations from the fans up on the podium after a great day.
Then, in 24, Sexton was pitched against the other Lawrence brother, with Hunter himself following from contention after leading.
Hunter Lawrence out of the blocks first.
This is key number 1 for Hunter Lawrence. He needed to be in front of Chase Sexton. Chase Sexton got a great start.
5th time this season Hunter Lawrence has grabbed the whole shot. 8th time a Honda has done it. And Sexton has to go to work. Yes, Plessinger 2nd, Sexton 3rd, Anderson 4th. Hunter Lawrence and Chase Sexton dueling up front.
Been on the outside. Now he's playing that defense game, but if he doesn't get going...
Oh, here comes Sexton. James, you saw it coming. Side by side and drag race to the top. Who's going to lift? Sexton leaps into the lead. Checkered flag in sight. 4 moto wins in a row for Chase Sexton. There's the 2nd place man, Hunter Lawrence. 18 minutes he led, not quite able to hold Sexton to the end. Gates down. Is that Justin Cooper? I believe it is. Hunter nearly had it, but this time Justin Cooper rectifies the start problems into the lead.
To make up that, and I said, look, what does he need? What's going to be the difference maker here? And he said, it's intensity. He's just going to have to dig really deep. So more of that simplistic, as the guy said, make contact, more of that simplistic coaching there, but digging deep on a track like this, it's a theme.
It worked, Will. He managed to muscle the lead away from Cooper. Sexton. Big run around the outside. Finishes it off.
Now he's going after that 96.
The race has started. Now they're actually pushing, and this is where who wins and loses will be decided. And you saw what happened to Justin Cooper. When they went, he couldn't go with them.
Oh, yeah, they are on it right now, JT. Sexton trying to set himself up as we head to the sand. On the inside. And that was quick. So this story can change a lot, but right now, it is not changing. It is going to be 5 straight moto wins for Chase Sexton, and now we can say rain or shine. He's got it.
The rain has to cool him off, because that boy hot.
Yeah, no cool down in the trash can needed now. This will be the 9th career 450 overall win for Chase Sexton, and 2 in a row. Chase Sexton sweeps it at Millville.
2022, it was Eli versus Chase. In 23, it was simply Jett. And in 2024, it was Chase versus Hunter. Together, all four will be on the line for the first time at Spring Creek. It likely won't make any difference. Until last Saturday, the first race of the season had been the most compelling, with both Eli Tomac and Jett Lawrence returning from long injury-induced absences. Eli gave us reason to think he could challenge Jett for the title, but Redbud showed that he can't, and that it's likely no one else can either. One and two so many times in so many races, it only follows that the Lawrence boys would now be 1 and 2 in the series, with Eli falling to 4th after the first Moto DNF, nearly 3 full Motos in arrears. After going from 18th to 1st, Lawrence just passed James Stewart in total career 450 motocross wins, only halfway through his 3rd year and after missing most of his 2nd. Outside of the aftermath of his Hangtown crash last season, Redbud was the first time we've seen Jett have to overcome true adversity in a single race. Bad start, a first lap crash, under duress, and still a methodical yet mercurial climb to the front. It was maybe his most impressive ride yet. That's saying something.
When you went down there early in the Moto and you knew what position you were in, tell us about what went through your mind to put that kind of fight in.
I want to start off by saying that that race then, I rode my heart out for the Zing family. We lost a really young fella this week. It was a tragic week, and my heart goes out to the family. I pray for them that they have a speedy recovery from that, because it's never good having a young fella leave this community. It sucks. So my prayers go out to the family, and hopefully they feel better. That race is for them.